Hello and welcome to Community Watch. Today we are continuing our interviews with Rome City Schools Board of Education candidates. And so to give all of our candidates enough time, we're going to move right into it. Today we are joined by Mr. Dale Swann, an incumbent, and let's get right to it.
Go ahead.
Mr. Swann, as we approach the election date, what one issue regarding Rome City Schools is the most important to you?
Probably two or three. One of them, of course, is the College Career Academy. It's going to be built, and we're looking forward to that. Maine is going to be redone again. Then we're going to have East North Heights be a sixth grade academy. So all three of those are very important that we're probably going to be focused on, more than anything right now.
Of the Rome City Schools projects on the East Block proposal to be voted on, which one project or request seemed the most needed to you and why?
The College Career Academy, and really, just more than that, that's what people don't understand. We got a lot of things going on in that academy. You got classrooms, you got the ROTC, you got meeting rooms, you got an inside field, going on. So that's why a lot of people have said, you hadn't predicted exactly how much money it was going to cost. Well, when you get in there, we might have to do some, pushing, shoving here or there, after we get going and getting it built.
Do you support caucus meetings being open to the public for transparency?
Definitely. They can come anytime. We've had that ever since I've been on the board.
Do the teachers and staff in the Rome City Schools match the diversity of the student body? Is that an issue that should be a concern to the board or not?
I don't know if it matches our population, but what we try to do, especially with minorities, and I've even went through some recruiting here in Rome, that if we go to the minorities and go to the black race, trying to get those to come see us, especially the male role model, that then somebody comes along from a manufacturer job or whatever and offers them twice as much as he can make in his teacher, and then that's where they go. But we try every year to do that.
Considering the increased number of Hispanics and Latino students in the city schools, is the board doing anything to encourage the participation of Hispanics and Latinos at the administrative level in the city school system?
Right now, we're trying we got classes for Hispanic people to kids and stuff. Best example I can give you is at Elm Street. Joanne Moss is our principal there. She said, when Hispanics come in, if you give me 3 years and let me get them to, they'll be fine. That's what it takes, to get them to learn language. And a lot of the parents don't know the English language either, so you have to go through the children to do that.
The county has implemented a sophisticated college and career academy for technical education. Why has the city been so slow to create a similar option for city students?
Well, we've had a lot on our agenda lately, but one of the things we're doing now with the college career is to do that. And our main purpose is it's going to be on our campus, so we won't have to worry about transportation, to our own students, where they can leave classroom and go straight to there. And if the Floyd County people get together and if they want to come, with us, that's fine.
Do you support a dress code at Rome High School, and why do you think there has been so much opposition to it?
I do support a dress code. I think that's good for everyone. And I lost my train of thought. But it's been there. Dr. Holland just implemented it. And said this is going to be this. And it's really for the students. I think it's more for them than it is anybody else. So, and when you get out in the world someday, you're going to have that kind of situation. So if you can address it now, then you can get used to it.
Do you think Rome City Schools is putting too much emphasis on sports and not enough on academics?
No. And reason of that, and Dr. Holland and him has talked about this, we both played athletics in high school. If it wasn't for athletics, we might not have finished high school, because that kept us there, but you had to get your grades up or you couldn't play athletics. So I think that's one of the key factors of keeping kids in school.
Are you satisfied with the current bus system for Rome City Schools? Do you believe the Rome transit buses are as safe as traditional school buses?
Right now, we're going to stay with the Rome City School, transit department. They've been very good with us, and buses, if you trying to purchase buses now, and if you have all the handicap facilities that's attached to them, they're probably over $100-something. So with Rome is doing this, and we've worked well with them over the years because they have their maintenance and things. So, and our kids, I don't think we've had any kind of serious problems over the years since I've been here.
What is the current dropout rate in the city of Rome schools, and what is the board doing to improve that issue?
That's been an issue ever since I've been on the board, okay? And what is the dropout issue, they really don't do it the right way. In other words, if we have a kid at Rome High and he goes to Coosa, they consider that a dropout, and which is not. I mean, he just transferred schools. So, but we try to work on that, and we try to follow up on anybody that leaves our school. We try to not track them, but keep, if they're in another school, where we can go to the state and say, hey, look, our dropout rate's better than what you're saying, because they went to, maybe went to Pepperell or Alamuch, wherever, you know.
What makes more sense to you? Having all 7 of the Board of Election seats come up for election at the same time, or having staggered terms?
Back in 1988, when I was elected, we had 6 board members. I was the first 7th board member to get elected. But in that thing, also we asked for staggered terms and asked her to redistrict some of our neighborhoods. The only thing they let us do, the federal government, was the 7th board member. Yeah, we would love staggered terms. Because right now, you think about it, we could walk through here with 7 brand new board members that's never even been on the board. And I'm sure our superintendent wouldn't like to see that, you know.
Do you support term limits for the Board of Education?
I must not, because I'm still running. And the reason I'm doing this is that I'm very enthusiastic. And I first got on the board, and I seen an article that they had interviewed me that is all about getting the best education for our kids. I still feel the same way. And with my experience through 6 superintendents, I can see the good and the bad, and I know what can work, what can't work, and I think I would definitely be an asset to that. And my motto has always been, any board member you can talk to, a superintendent, it's all about the kids with Dale Swann.
And our last question, do you or have you mentored a student in Rome City Schools?
No, I have not.
Okay. All right, that's our time. I want to thank Mr. Swann for being with us. Stay with us. We'll be right back after this.
My college offers classes that meet my educational and career goals,
with opportunities outside the classroom,
where the faculty know me by name.
My college can prepare me for my career.
I can earn an associate's degree and transfer credits toward my bachelor's.
My college is a state college within the University System of Georgia.
My college is affordable.
It's close to home.
My college has online opportunities.
It's where excellence begins.
We are
GHC, Georgia Highlands College.
Welcome back to Community Watch, and we're now joined with Mr. Ron Roach, and we'll get right into our questions. Mr. Roach, as we approach the election date, what one issue regarding Rome City Schools is the most important to you?
Well, of course, I agree with probably all the other 14 persons running with me. The students is the most important issue, and anything and everything to improve their education, continue doing the things they're doing positive, and try to do some things in addition to that that'll help us progress even more.
Of the Rome City Schools project on the East Bloss proposal to be voted on, which one project or request seems the most needed to you, and why?
Well, I don't know if I could narrow it down to one. I just know the ones that are most pertinent to the educational process, the expansion of the school buildings and the building of the new main high facility to cover all the elementary schools and move the 6th grade academy over to the present North Heights. I think that anything to accommodate and alleviate the student population, which seems to be growing rapidly here in Rome, is the most important projects on that splash.
Do you support caucus meetings being open to the public for transparency?
I have no problem with that. I think the public needs to stay aware and be able to see firsthand of what's going on there. I'm sure there's some things that has to be discussed in private. For the most part, though, I think everything needs to be on the up and up in front of the public, so they know what what's been done with their tax dollars.
Do the teachers and staff in the Rome City school system match the diversity of the student body? Is that an issue that should be a concern to the board or not?
I'm not sure exactly what the staff makeup is. I know a number of teachers that teach in the school system, but as long as they're getting good qualified educators teaching their classes, then I think that's of utmost importance there. But it is great if you can have some diversity in the staff, but like I said, presently that would be some information I'd have to have more research on.
Considering the increasing number of Hispanics and Latino students in the city schools, what would you do as a member of the board to encourage the participation of Hispanics and Latinos at the administrative level in the city schools?
I'm not sure I can narrow down on any one particular thing to do. I know in the past, as a teacher, I've always tried to draw in the minorities, whatever they be, and also the girls' programs. I've tried to make sure they got equal opportunities to do what all the students at the school was. A little more information on the Hispanic population and everything and their needs. Just make sure that they were provided opportunities that the rest of the student body had.
The county has implemented a sophisticated college and career academy for technical education. Why has the city been so slow to create a similar option for city students?
That really puzzles me there as well, and it was a concern of mine as a parent, an individual retired teacher. It seems like something that they surely understand now is in dire need of adding to the program. But as to why it's taken so long, I couldn't tell you. I know if I had been a past member of the board, it would have been a priority of concern, because I understand the county has had a program for quite some time now.
Do you support a dress code at Rome High School, and why do you think there has been so much opposition to it?
Well, there's always going to be opposition when someone comes in and starts enforcing something that's already in place. As a teacher myself, and PE teacher, I think it's more sensible to have a dress code. I've been substituting for the past 14 years, taught full-time 34, and we had a lot better discipline with the dress code. As the substitute teacher going in some of the systems in the county, in Bartow County, I find it a little neglected in some of the schools, and I do mostly middle school substituting, and they're way past what we allowed. I'm not talking about when I first started teaching and coaching. I'm talking about more recent, right before I retired, and I could see some laxity in the dress code, and I could see some problems that were created by not enforcing it.
Do you think Rome City Schools is putting too much emphasis on sports and not enough on academics?
My limited knowledge right now of the sports programs in Rome City, I wouldn't say they're putting too much emphasis on sports. I would say that any school needs to make sure they level and are first conscious of our academics. That's the most important. They don't need to neglect either, because they both are fundamentally needed to have an overall good, sound, as part of the education system. And I feel, being a retired coach as well, but definitely there needs to be a level the playing field if there's more emphasis on one than the other.
Are you satisfied with the current bus system for Rome City Schools? Do you believe the Rome transit buses are as safe as traditional school buses?
I would hope they would be equally safe, if not more so, because they're surely built seat the people different than students, but to be built for the safety of the population to drive in as a transit, I wouldn't see it being just as safe.
What is the current dropout rate in the city of Rome, and what is the board doing to improve that issue?
I could not tell you exactly what the dropout rate is. I've studied a lot of the information on the splash coming up, on the student numbers, the increase in the population of the school, but I would say it'd be similar to a lot of the schools, that the dropout rate would be affected by mostly, I'd say, maybe some of the lower income students having to go work sooner and be forced into the work field and out of school.
What makes more sense to you, having all 7 of the Board of Education seats come up for election at the same time, or having staggered terms?
That is automatically staggered terms. I think you need to be able to rotate a portion of the board each time. I was surprised to see that the city did it this way. I'm glad to see that there's a number of people other than myself that are interested in the position. From studying the bios of the people running, I think whether they be incumbent or new persons in, I think you're going this time to have a good solid board. That's not always the case. If we didn't have that good background of the people running, and you replaced too many of the board members, you wouldn't have any of that continuity of the past board, the positive things they have done. But as long as you're guaranteed a good, solid background of people, it wouldn't be so bad. But I would prefer that it be a situation where you alternated and had at least 1, 2, 3 board members returning with a new board.
Okay, we got about 15 seconds left for this question. Do you support term limits for the Board of Education?
I have no problem with the term limit. The only disadvantage of that, if you've got an excellent board member, then you can lose a good qualified person. But it would give more people more opportunities to serve on the board. So I'm kind of neither one way or the other on that.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
That's our time. Stay with us. We'll be right back with more Community Watch right after this.
My college offers classes that meet my educational and career goals.
With opportunities outside of the classroom,
Where the faculty know me by name.
My college can prepare me for my career.
I can earn an associate's degree and transfer credits to a bachelor's.
My college is a state college within the university system of Georgia.
My college offers courses that fit my schedule.
It's where excellence begins.
we are.
We are
We are
We are GHC, Georgia Highlands College.
Welcome back to Community Watch, and we're continuing our interviews for the Rome City Board of Education, and we're currently joined with Miss Elena Beeman, a current incumbent. Ms. Beeman, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you, Greg.
As we approach the election date, what one issue regarding Rome City schools is the most important to you?
The Career and College Academy. I would love to make sure that we have all the kids that are graduating from high school right now, to make sure that they have a career path when they walk out, that they're comfortable with and committed to.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Of the Rome City Schools project on the East Block proposal to be voted on, which one project or request seemed the most needed to you and why?
It's not just one, we need them all, because we have grown so far at a very rigorous rate that the only way we can keep up with the traditions that we promised that we would give the best to all our students is that we need to enhance our college and career academies. We need to add on to our facilities. We need to make more space accommodating so we can bring in the best things that we offer our students. So right now, there's just not one. We need them all.
Do you support caucus meetings being open to the public for transparency?
Well, yes, and I wish that more people would come to our caucus meetings. Only time we close it is when we go into, we start talking about personnel, but it's so many issues that I'm hearing about now because it's an election that was not brought to our attention prior to the election. And our caucus meetings are open to the public, so I wish more people would come out and share some of their concerns, or even come hear some of the things that's on the agenda, and even give us some of their feedback. But right now, the only time we really see a lot of activity, that I've seen a lot of activity, is now since it's an election.
Do teachers and staff in the Rome City schools match the diversity of the student body? Is that an issue that should be a concern to the board or not?
And that is an issue, and that is a concern that we are actually looking at. And no, it does not match, because Rome City does have 60% of the minority students that are there, and no, the staff does not match up to that. But however, it was, for a while there's been that no one really wanted to come to Rome because we didn't offer a lot of the things that they need, like if they were single, the nightlife. If they were wanting to start wanted to buy homes here, the market was really scarce. A lot of times, a lot of people want to travel and leave Rome. So a lot of things that we didn't offer, it made it very competitive for the Atlanta, Chattanooga areas for us to compete. But now that we're targeting more so families, you got husbands and wives and spouses that are looking to relocate and raise their children, and you have some who are actually moving up the ladder, like assistant principals now, who are ready to walk into a principal's position, promotion. Then we are attracting those type of individuals. But at first, it's trying to get people straight out of college that want to come here, or people who have actually been working, because the teaching field is very competitive. We don't want just anybody. We want the best of bodies to come here into our school system. So yes, right now it's not matching up. So we are looking at trying to be more creative and finding more ways to bring in more minorities into our school system. So it's something that we're not taking lightly. It's something we're actually focusing on, because we know it's important.
Considering the increasing number of Hispanics and Latino students in the city schools, is the board doing anything to encourage the participation of Hispanics and Latinos at the administrative level in the city?
Yes, we know that the Hispanic population is really growing, and a lot of times Hispanic families like to stay with people they feel comfortable around, and most of the time it's their own kind, just like us. We always attract to people that are like us. So right now the trust is a factor, communication is a factor, the environment is a factor. So yes, we are taking it very seriously, trying to find ways of trying to actually reach them, to be able to connect with them. And a lot of times, if you don't look like a certain individual, they're not going to connect with you.
The county has implemented a sophisticated college and career academy for technical education. Why has the city been so slow to create a similar option for city students?
It hadn't been that. It's not the reason that we've been slow. It's finances and actually space constraints. I mean, we actually have career pathways right now at Rome High School, but we don't have the facilities that can accommodate them. And now that it's a big issue, because now if the state, the federal government, everybody's looking at career pathways, because we've got a lot of students who graduate from high school that are prepared for work in college, but they don't know how. They don't have the soft skills, or they really don't know how to go in and do they get the interviews, they get the job, but staying on the job is the other problem. So it's not that we hadn't taken it seriously, it's just that we had space constraints and actually the availability to be able to produce those things. But now, since we have the fund, we know we're guaranteed the funding for it. It's a serious matter, because we don't want kids graduating from high school walking the streets not knowing where they're going to be working or if they're going to have a job. We want them to have career pathways that when we leave this earth, they'll be here to take over and still train and learn from us. So it's not that it's something that's been on the back burner. It's just we hadn't had the availability and the capability to do it because of funds.
Do you support a dress code at Rome High School, and why do you think there has been so much opposition to it?
Because it hadn't been enforced. It's not because it's a big issue. It's because it hadn't been enforced. And I do support a dress code because I feel like we dress the way we want to be perceived. And if you want to be respected, you carry yourself in a respectful way. If you want to be disrespected, you act in a disrespectful way. And you have a dress code everywhere you go. You have a dress code on your job, you have a dress code in the school, you even have a dress code if you even go to jail. So there's a dress code everywhere you go. It's just being enforced. It's not something that's new. It's something that should have been enforced from day one.
Do you think Rome City Schools is putting too much emphasis on sports and not enough on academics?
You know, it's hard to say that Rome is putting a lot of emphasis on sports because, to be honest, academics come along with athletics. You know, kids got to have a reason to come to school every day besides education, because although education is important, you know, if you can throw study, read all day long, but you got to have something to balance that downtime, something. And then with athletics, if they don't have the academics, they can't play the sport. So it's not that emphasis are put on them. It's just that we want to create in them the winning spirit, the spirit to win, the spirit to challenge themselves, the spirit to feel like they can excel. And if sports is what's getting them to that point, then I don't think we're putting emphasis on athletics more than academics, because without athletics there will be no, without academics there will not be athletics, and without athletics you can't play if you don't make the grade. So I don't think there's a lot of emphasis put on it. I think they go hand in hand. Mm-hmm.
Are you satisfied with the current bus system for Rome City Schools? Do you believe the Rome transit buses are as safe as traditional school buses?
That is an issue that we're definitely looking at, that we still need to continue to look at. Right now we have such a growth in our school systems now that our kids need the public transportation. And they're again funding. We have kids that are still left at school around 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the evening, still trying to be transported home because we don't want to overcrowd the buses. Now, yes, we do. Funding is again an issue where we need to look at. We have increased the budget to add more transport, to buy more buses, but the bottom line is we keep growing. We're growing at a rate that is beyond what we really expected. When we merged two great schools, West Rome and East Rome, together, we said that we were going to give them the best of everything. And that's the reason why we merged the schools. Now, we've got families who are moved to the county schools who are moving back to Rome City, wanting to come to Rome City because of the fine things that we offer, athletics, academics, extracurricular activities. So we keep growing. That every year that we look at the transportation and add it to the budget, we're growing faster than what we expected. Yeah.
Well, that's our time. Thank you for being here. And thank you. Stay with us. We'll be right back with more Community Watch. No, we'll actually be continuing this taping next week with more candidates for the Board of Education. So thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next week.
Oh, I got 3.